Hey guys, Blazie here, and welcome to my review of Land Before Time 11, Invasion of the Tinysaurses. So after the 10th movie, I was excited to see what they would do. It made me remember why I love the Land Before Time movies. But I also remember the last movies weren't exactly amazing, so I didn't keep my excitement up for long. This one came out in 2005, so 2 years after the 10th one. Almost like when I were going to stop, I said, let's see how much more further we can milk this, because I feel like the 10th one was a good ending. But whatever, here we are. So of course, narration, gotta give them props at this point for coming up with the same narration, but said differently. Talks about there being big dinosaurs and one as small as kittens, and small things being just as important as everything else and all that. And one of those small things is a tasty flower that blooms not very often. It's not very clear if it's like once a year or something going by the ending, which I will get to. And so we see a large tree in the valley. It looks rather pretty with all the little pink flowers on it. We also hear Littlefoot got a new voice again, and this time it's not very good. Like, it's fine, but definitely the weakest so far. So apparently they have to wait until nibbling day. Sounds hot. To eat the flower so that everyone gets a turn. But Petrie goes for ones up top since no one will notice, but Sarah's dad tells him off. The dude has taken it upon himself to guard the tree. Sarah mentions that she gets first dibs at the flowers because she found the tree in the first place. Though we get a flashback and see it was Littlefoot who found it, but Sarah jumps on his back and takes a bite out of the flower, so technically she did get to eat it first. And then a weird argument of, well, maybe Littlefoot should have eaten it if he wasn't so small. It goes on about, like, you're small for a long neck, aren't you? And Littlefoot seems so sad and down, like, you think I'm small? And she kind of teases him and in the end says, like, see you later, Littlefoot. Really emphasizing the little. It's a little bit of a mean moment, I have to say. Also, like, then Littlefoot has seen, like, other kid long necks and all the same size to him, so now suddenly, oh, I'm small. Oh, I'm useless because I'm small. Doesn't quite really work. And considering the title and the narration, this is what the story is about, isn't it? So, a very female freehorn shows up, calling Daddy Freehorn Topsy. So, I guess we got an official name for him now. Topsy. Love it. He seems kind of embarrassed, so I'm backing himself up. So, like, the whole tough guy act is kind of failing here at the moment, and now he's like a lovesick teenager, and it is kind of funny to see him as such.
Why, Topsy, you haven't changed a bit.
She wants to get, like, a tree treat first, which Topsy is all very giggly and shyly agrees to, even though, like, he promised it to his daughter. But here something does start to happen that I noticed throughout the movie. They really, like, stretch their faces here and there, kind of comically exaggerating the animations. It's a bit much, I must say, in this movie. So Littlefoot is all moody about being small, trying to climb a rock, gets help from Grandpa, and so Littlefoot is like, oh, it's because I'm small that I can't do these things. Which his grandparents mentioned as dad, which I like they mentioned him. And they themselves were teeny like him when they were young, and he is like surprised. Like, doesn't he understand basic stuff like a kid grows up to be an adult size one day? Meaning all adults were teeny at one point? It is an odd thing for him to be like surprised by, like, just like, the way he was surprised, you know, he was like, really like, wow, you know. But then good old Grandma warns the mood by saying, well, Grandpa was taller when he was your age. Like, wow, way to make him feel sad again. So he does end up wandering off sad. At this point, I don't have much hope for this movie. He ends up where those tree suites are, well, above them on like a cliff. It feels like, well, now he's big enough to get the first tree suite. And so he reaches out to grab some, ends up breaking the cliff away and falling into the tree. Falling all the way through the branches and flowers, and in the process, knocking off all the flowers. Yeah, every single one of the flowers ends up getting knocked off. Well, he's dead for sure. He passes out and wakes up and there's like a tiny little long-necked dinosaur standing on his belly. Littlefoot looks around to see like a whole bunch of these dinosaurs all around him and they're basically just him but coloured differently. Great character design there for sure. He screams and they all run away screaming too. Sarah's dad, well, Topsy that I shall now call him because I do love that name. But if it's his nickname, I wonder how he got it. Anyway, him and his girlfriend come by. Littlefoot runs away so they don't see him as they like notice a tree is destroyed. So he screams out, which was funny as the grandparents is like, it's Mr. Freehorn again. I'm sure he'll tell us what's going on. They all gather around a tree where he accuses someone of eating them. It's like, damn, that's a lot of flowers for one dinosaur to eat. Here as well, the female Freehorn mentions that she was supposed the first tree suite was supposed to be for Sarah, so Sarah is obviously confused. Littlefoot, being a bit nervous, yells out that it wasn't him, he didn't do anything.
What's the matter with... I didn't do it! You hear me? I didn't do
The female freehorn recognizes him as the one that ran away while there. Which, like, why didn't she say that before, like, she saw, like, a long-necked child running away? Littlefoot doesn't bring up vows because of him that the tree seats all fell off, but does mention the little longnecks that are there that ate the flowers, twisting the story a little bit. But no one believes him anyway and starts laughing, even his friends. Great friends. But we do see a little flower petal with small bite marks and realize there are small dinosaurs out there. Like, wow, that didn't take much convincing at all. Now Topsy is all like, this is awful, our valley being invaded by teeny pests that creep and crawl around, and another says, little things are awful, I hate them. Yikes. The herd starts singing about creepy crawlies, aka small creatures. The grandparents end up speaking up during the song that, like, everything has its place and they might be nice. But yeah, no one seems really pleased about the little things crawling about, and it's also not a really great song. Topsy wants to exterminate them. Like, yeah, that's his wording. Yikes, dino genocide. I don't understand the hate for these things in the entire movie for these just little dinosaurs. I truly don't understand it. I get they ate the flowers, at least that's, like, what they know. But they clearly they're new to the valley, so, like, find them and make them understand what they did is wrong. But nope, dino genocide. But Grandpa chimes in that they have as much right to be here as we do. But I do love this. In the next scene, we get a group of dinos that include Ducky and Peach's mum, yelling away like they have, like, no right to eat our flowers. But in the same shot is Grandma, doing the exact same thing and yelling towards Grandpa, but in the next shot it's, like, confused along with Grandpa that, like, everyone's arguing over this. It's a funny goof, or if it's, like, another long neck, they colored her like her. So that's what could have happened. So Sarah is annoyed with her dad, and then, like, Littlefoot and her go and try and find the little dinosaurs, Peachy, Spike and Ducky, a separate group, and then those three start singing about the creepy crawlies. Again. Just after we already heard it. Why? So Sarah is angry with her dad, and then Littlefoot falls into a cave and ends up landing on, like, the tiny dinosaur. How did he not crush it? I don't know. And Littlefoot runs away scared. This is so weird, honestly. Why is he so scared of a tiny dinosaur? Up top, Sarah comes across her dad and the female freehorn, whose name is Tria, by the way, sorry for not mentioning that sooner. And he's still also giddy and weird. We now know they did know each other when he was a wild young fella. Basically, yeah, they were teenage sweethearts. Next, we get some awful screaming from Littlefoot. Like, it's not convincing at all. As I said, he's definitely the weakest of a lot when it comes to voice acting, and this kind of proves it. And finds a little green longneck again, and then there's, like, more all around him, and he's scared of it doing something to him. Like, calm down, dude, they're tiny and would be dead by now if they were going to do something. But then they're like, what can we do? You're so big, you're a giant. And Littlefoot is so happy, like, yeah, I am big, I am huge. Because, well, he is compared to them. And the little green one is like the same one I was standing on his belly earlier. And it's like, hey, you remember me? But Littlefoot denies it. Like, why are you lying to them? Why are you lying to the little dude, Littlefoot? We're clearly not the bad guys here. Own up to your mistakes. You've been in enough movies by now to know that this will come back to haunt you eventually. The little guy's name is Skitter, by the way. Suddenly a big booming voice is heard that makes them all run away scared. Skitter says that Littlefoot better hide. It's Big Daddy. Nice name. But that voice is oh so familiar.
And there's...
Skitter! Lizzie!
Oh,
Where are you kids?
better hide! That's Big Daddy!
Big Daddy?
Do you kids hear me when I'm talking to you?
And it's Michael Clark Duncan, Wester's soul. I love the big dude, and it's so awesome to hear his voice again is something I haven't seen. But at the same time, he is even smaller than the other dinosaurs, just much older, so that's why he's like daddy, I guess. But yeah, they knew exactly what they were doing when they cast him. So, okay, so Big Daddy is like, you told the big ones about us, didn't you? But then Skinner is like, no, Big Daddy, it wasn't him, I thought so too, but it's just someone who looks like him. Which, okay, so this is where that whole thing will, like, come into it. Of course, that has a purpose where they'll all find out later, be angry and disappointed in him and all that. I don't really get this whole hatred for them, right? Or why they have to, like, sneak around. The dinosaurs like everyone else, right? Hell, since they're teeny, they would eat less food. Whatever. During the night, Littlefoot goes and gets food for him. The adults in the morning are mad about someone eating the food during the night, aka what Littlefoot took. Tria talks to Sarah, and, like, seems like she was trying to get to know her better, but Sarah just gets mad and walks off. and later gets mad at Ducky for calling her dad Topsy, which they still continue to do throughout the movie anyway. Randomly, at one point, Littlefoot sees like the two little dudes just chilling on some rocks with an acorn randomly. Luckily, he saw them first, so he tells the others to go look somewhere else, getting like a weird animation in the process. Another 2 nights pass and we get a scene with a grumpy Sarah and her dad. He talks about like, she likes me and I like her. She doesn't have anyone and needs protecting. I mean, she has horns, right? Like, that's like kind of the whole purpose of him. But Sarah wants it to be like it always was. Everyone hating him and him hating everyone else. But he says things are just not going to be like that. Even though you want to exterminate all the little dinosaurs. Basically, it's that kind of story of a parent finding a new girlfriend. Sarah walks off during the night and sees Littlefoot is up to something. For some reason deciding like to wake up the others, wasting time. But Littlefoot could be like over and done with before they even like get there. I understand waking up the others, but she's wasting time. But so the others end up falling into the hole that like Littlefoot went down in, so now they see the little ones. So Petrie and Ducky are like, oh, we should tell the others up top. But Sarah was like, nah, we won't do that. Which, yay, awesome, good job. But of course it's because she doesn't want to tell her dad. Yeah, sounds about right. Big Daddy chooses to trust Sarah, and just goes along with everything. And then one of the other little dinos mentions to Sarah that her dad gets mad a lot too, and looks back at Big Daddy, who mentioned his daughter Lizzie at some point. So something I want to point out as well, at this point, are they just like little long necks in this world, basically? Because yeah, they have the same look as Littlefoot, or are they an own species? I kind of figured maybe they're like copies, because like copies are like known for being like thieves a lot in like games and movies and such. If you play Dino Crisis 2, you know what I mean.
Hey! That's mine!
Well, I actually did some research and found they're called Tinysaurses. Something like that anyway, sorry for if it's wrong. A species of tiny dinosaur that shares similarities with long-necked type dinosaurs, even though they're small. Basically, they're like a tiny giraffe, which is utterly adorable. The little ones show off their home like an underwater lake, while Sarah and Lizzie, the daughter, go along well, talking about dads being moody and grumpy, but because they care, apparently. Not always, let's be real here. Then Sarah and her sings about dads, but didn't we already get a song about dads in the last movie? But this time it's about dads can drive a girl crazy. It's an okay song, honestly, sung pretty well by Sarah, I will say. Next day, everyone's all tired, so we get a few shots of that, and Tria talks to Sarah, and Sarah finally agrees to try to be friends. Next night, Topsy sees them out in the night, though Sarah argues what is he doing out in the night. Smart. But because they were caught out in the night, they didn't bring any food down to the little ones, so Lizzie tries to go up on her own, though Skinner sees and follows. At least I think it's him because they do that whole nighttime thing where they change colours, so instead of green, he's blue. Tria comes and chats to Topsy, wanting to go take a walk. But then he sees the two dinosaurs and goes after them, all while Tria thinks they're cute. He tries to grab them, but they manage to dive down into a hole before he does so. So then he gathers everyone's sake, he found the vicious vermin. He knows where they are, they can rid the Great Valley of the Scourge forever. Talking like a real dictator there, dude. But Tria actually speaks up, saying no, they're not like that. Sure, they're small, but they're cute and frightened, and you should leave them alone. And Sarah smiles, like yeah, they agree. But then, oh man. Topsy is dead after this. Topsy says that if you don't know what you're talking about, you shouldn't talk at all. Damn. The look on their face says it all. Yep, I knew that was coming. But everyone agrees to go after the little ones, besides the grandparents and her. So Topsy and another dino go to push a rock to cover up the hole, when Littlefoot tries to plead with them, which doesn't work until Littlefoot finally mentions that it was his fault the tree sweets were eaten up by the little ones. Like, sure, they ate them, but it was his fault in the first place, and so they are not pleased to hear this. It even says that he blamed on the little ones for being, like, for seeing how mad everyone was, which, like, the little ones over here. And so Big Daddy is just like, do you still trust the big ones? Which, yeah, fair enough. Littlefoot did screw up quite badly. So Grandpa says they should just go home and leave the little ones in peace. So with that done, we see how upset Tree is, and then we see Littlefoot's friends are mad at him for what he had done, and walks away from him. Now, I do wish here the grandparents would talk to Littlefoot, instead of just being like, well, time for bed. They should talk to him to teach the viewers what he did is wrong. Blaming something he did on others is not okay, but that doesn't happen, not until later anyway, but it should be done here. The walkdown is being pushed off a cliff to cover up the hole, then collapses down onto the hole in the end, completely covering it up. But they just sort of like tear up and walk away, unable to really do anything. During one night as I sleep, Littlefoot wanders off and starts singing about pretty much the situation he is in. And here finally Grandpa, though not talks but sings about what he did was wrong, about lies that will become big. Like a lie can escalate like it did, becoming big when you become small. Eventually also saying that it's okay because you will learn from these things to the point that you won't have to say, if only. If only I didn't mess up. If only I didn't lie. It's a meh song, just singing about the situation, but the message there is good for the kiddie, so And I do like Grandpa singing with Littlefoot. And then we get these eyes. In the morning, the others are still mad at Littlefoot, but not really sure why. But it simply comes down to they didn't get to have any of the tree sweets. Like, damn, is it a drug or something? Then Littlefoot made friends with the little ones, but then made the grown-ups mad at the little dinosaurs, and so they're upset with him. Now it's just all a bit of a mess. Sarah talks to Tria. Sarah realizes something, that Topsy got so mad at the little dinosaurs because he did offer her the first tree sweet, but they were eaten up by the little ones, so he wasn't able to give it to her. To someone he loved, so he wanted revenge. He's still going about it the wrong way though, but that is what it comes down to, and I do like that. It doesn't explain why everyone else was getting so angry though. The little ones make it out of the cave to the mysterious beyond and get attacked by raptors who chase them into the cave, but they manage to hide away in time. But the raptors then make their way further in towards the Great Valley, though it's caved in, so it should be fine. Why? Big Daddy is happy about that and wants to go the other way, but Lizzie is worried for her friends. But then we see the raptors just kind of walk out of the cave. Like, I am so confused. The whole that was there is covered up by a landslide practically. And it's just like this big hole there that the raptors just walk out of. That's pretty dumb. So then the others, we see her like crying that they made Littlefoot sad. But then they get attacked by the raptors, Tria and Littlefoot coming to the rescue. And then one of the raptors makes a weird face and starts giggling. In short, Lizzie is skidding on top of him, scratching at his back, which just like tickles him, making him giggle. I'm unsure if they're like scratching at him or if they're like actually trying to tickle him. It's kind of confusing like that. And even Big Daddy appears to help with the other little guys and all charge at the raptors. And of course I managed to at least fight back without dying. Then end up getting scared and Topsy comes in to save them. Then all the adults appear to get rid of the raptors. So they run back into a cave which is then further blocked up by the adults. So the little ones have no choice in the end but to stay in the valley, so that's what they do. And we see the tree seed flowers bloom once again. This time Littlefoot goes up to go for it and he grabs it and passes it to Sarah, who passes it to Tria, who passes it on to the little ones. And he is so happy that he was able to reach it because he is bigger now. Apparently, anyway, this is what I'm confused at. Like, did like a year pass? Because then they do look exactly the same, you know, they don't look any bigger, but it's kind of confusing as to how much time passes to when like the tree streets bloom. But Grandpa says Littlefoot grew bigger the day he stood up in front of everyone and admitted he was wrong. A solid message there, I will say, at the end there. And then the movie ends. It's not a great movie, it's very bland, not much happens. The story is more about Topsy and his new lover, and yeah, I get what they're doing, but it's a very old story though. Like, it's been done so many times before, and the speciesism towards the little dinosaurs, it's just so random. Like, I get they kind of explained why Topsy was so mad at them, because they ate the flowers he would have, like, given to his girl. So they ruined that, but everyone else, it's just so weird though. I don't understand the speciesism in this movie. Though the message that Littlefoot became big the day he opened up to his mistake is good, but it's still like done to death. But not the worst thing. And then like the animation is all over the place. Well, generally like I like the animation. Like it is looking good. It was just very stretchy in this movie now and then. It's just a bit odd at times. It's not the worst movie, but damn is it pointless. So this is a 4 out of 10 foxes. It is below average for its just boring songs, boring stories, but it's not a bad movie. It did make me chuckle here and there, but I still wouldn't call it an average movie. Like, this is not worth watching after the 10th one just to see more of the characters. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed this review. If you did, give it a like and subscribe to our channel because I'll love you if you do. Hit that bell icon, and this fox says, be who you want to be. Alright guys, bye for now.